insurance companies say they're receiving a high number of claims due to load shedding. These range from electrical appliances, I beg your pardon, being damaged due to power surges, to an increase in house burglaries during longer periods of outages. The question, of course, is how bad is it looking, and do these insurance companies have the capacity to deal with this? Well, let's speak to one of them. The head of Dal Direct is Anneli Retief, who joins us now via our video link this morning. Anneli, great to see you. Thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. So it's Santam that's saying that they're seeing a 60% increase in power surge-related claims, at least by the end of June. Discovery is saying they've received an average of 300 power surge-related claims in just 1 week. Is that in line with the figures you're seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing a definite increase. I mean, if you think of our numbers in 2018, we had about 20% of all our contents claims were due to power surges. That has now gone up to 50%. So, yes, definitely an increase there. And as you mentioned, not only an increase in power surge claims, but also an increase in accident claims, as well as house burglaries.
The real concern, of course, is that the environment has obviously changed. The risk is a whole lot more different, and that might have an impact on things like premiums. Are you re-looking at your business model in order to survive this?
Well, you know, we do guarantee our premiums for a year, so not in the immediate term. But as you can imagine, the cost of claims will have an impact on the insurance industry, and will potentially have an impact in the long term. And that's why we also depend on consumers to also take care of their goods. I mean, there are lots of protective measures that can be taken to take care of your contents and your electronic devices during power surges. And, you know, we all have to sort of work together.
Yeah, you know, it's just yet another instance of just how load shedding is having this kind of ripple effect on many aspects of our lives. But we've kind of been in this weird space of the country for the better part of the past decade. I wonder whether or not you feel there are lessons to be learned in the past few years about how to deal with this moment, while taking into consideration that this is pretty much as bad as it's ever gotten.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's got, to your point, it's got a massive impact on our goods, but also has a big impact on our safety. You know, you don't want to be left vulnerable for a burglary or for a road accident. So, you know, but us South Africans are very adaptable, and I think there's a lot that we have learned over the last 10 years in terms of how we can protect ourselves, you know, taking care of, you know, like secondary type security measures that you can take at your households, what to do with your electrical appliances. So I think we have learned as a society to adapt. We have no choice.
Yeah. I mean, let's speak about the ways in which people are being left vulnerable when there are longer bouts of load shedding. I mean, in my mind, obviously it means some of your alarm systems, for instance, are not as, you know, efficient as they typically would be if there is power. Does that correlate with the kind of instances you're seeing where people are being burgled or have their houses burgled into when there isn't any power?
Yeah, exactly. Alarm systems is a big one. So having a plan B in place is very important, but also, you know, the lighting at your house. So when you fall into darkness, again, it leaves you more susceptible to burglaries. So I think, you know, just investing in those battery-operated type lighting solutions for your household is important. People's cell phone batteries run flat. I mean, it's one thing you don't think about is how you're going to call for help, you know, if your cell phone battery runs flat. So, yeah, we really have to be proactive and sort of try and think of absolutely everything, just to keep ourselves safe. It's not only about those claims. At Dal Direct, we're happy to support our customers during these difficult times, but, you know, you don't want to put yourself in an unsafe situation.
Speak to us a bit more about what that support looks like. What exactly do you offer people who find themselves to be vulnerable because of what we're speaking about?
Well, you know, many insurance companies in the industry actually don't pay out their claims when a burglary occurs because of your alarm system being down, because that's a condition on your policy. But at Dal Direct, we don't believe that that's fair because it's out of the customer's control. So we do pay out those claims. So I think it's very, very important to, you know, have that open conversation with your insurer and really understand what you're in for. And again, as I mentioned, best prize or first prize is to make sure that you try and do absolutely everything you can to remain protected.
Yeah, but I'm sure as an insurance company, you're also trying to make sure that your business is sustainable even in this kind of environment What questions are you asking yourselves about how you'd survive this in a context where we're being told we're going to be in this kind of position for at least the next 2 years?
Yeah. It's a difficult one. I mean, we've got lots of data on hand. We know exactly what the impact is. We can see how the incidents are increasing. We're watching this very closely, so we can see a 3% increase in burglaries and a 5.2% increase in vehicle accidents, those doubling over weekends. So we're watching those patterns. We're using data to support us, data-driven business largely. And then also, we're taking a stance on preventative measures. So communicating with our customers, communicating with the public, such as in this interview, and sort of taking an all-round approach. So it's not only about the claims, but it's also about the communication, the education, and watching the numbers for the future.
Yeah. When it comes to, for instance, the impact of traffic lights going out, we've seen insurance companies really coming on board by, in some instances, partnering with law enforcement officials so that there's people directing traffic. Yes, it helps with the traffic, but let's be honest, it also has a fringe benefit for insurance companies who don't have to deal with claims because of accidents. Do you reckon there's a similar model that we can think of when it comes to load shedding, about ways of partnering with, government, perhaps not government because they arguably why we're here, but ways of partnering with your customers to ensure that ultimately you're not seeing as many power surge related claims coming on your desk?
Absolutely. I mean, those private public partnerships are very, very important for us for the future. Once again, it is an all-round approach. There are many conversations happening. There are many of these partnerships, to your point, that already exist. I mean, if you only think of, on an unrelated topic, but Dal Direct being involved in repairing potholes, just another example of how we're trying to, partner in a preventative sense. It's important because it makes insurance sustainable. We can't just take an approach of increasing premiums. We want to make insurance affordable for our customers in the long term.
Yeah.
And to enable us to do that, we have to have those conversations with the public as well as with government.
Yeah. Quick one. Are you concerned that you might lose customers because of load shedding? Typically when people are having to, for instance, replace appliances and it's really cutting to their financials, the first thing they might let go of is, ironically, their insurance.
Or not, because if you think about it, the insurance is going to be there for you, especially in the tough times. So I would say that insurance is becoming more relevant than ever before. People depend on their vehicles for their livelihood. How are you going to get to work if you are in an accident and your vehicle is written off? Very few people can afford not to have insurance, is what I would argue.
Interesting take. Anneli Retief, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. Anneli is the head of Dial Direct as we continue taking stock of the latest bout of load shedding. Anneli, once again, thanks very much indeed.